Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Now I know you can't actually see me because I am so intensely camouflaged in the natural environment because this jacket, well, you know, it's built to blend in and be discreet. I'm joking, of course, it's bright yellow and I'm really obvious. I look like a walking, talking banana, but that is not the point. I am here to talk about the features of this jacket today. Yes, we are in to another review video. This is the Columbia Pebble Peak jacket. It's a down jacket and it's part of the Omni-Heat Infinity collection. So I hesitate because it's really quite a mouthful, but essentially is named after the technology that Columbia are using to maximize the insulation properties of this piece of equipment, and of course the others within their range. I've reviewed a couple of other jackets, and I just want to say before I really start to dive into the features of this piece of kit, the reason why I do review videos is all about education and empowerment. You know, there is so much information out there and it can be really overwhelming. Picking a jacket, picking a sleeping system, picking a flipping rucksack. It just can take hours to sift through the facts and quite often opinions of people. And so my idea with these reviews is basically to show you a piece of equipment, to talk through the features and leave you to make the decision as to whether or not this is the right piece of kit for you. And that's exactly what we are going to do today. Let's get down to it. I'm actually going to stay in the same place, I'm not going anywhere. It's quite difficult with the sun because as soon as the sun lands on this jacket, it is like the sun is blaring into your eyes. It's so bright. So that's why I'm sheltering behind this tree so that this actually works with the camera. But basically this jacket does not have to come in this bright sunshine yellow. There is blue and black also, which are a little bit more discreet. The blue, I have to say, is a lovely colour, sort of a blue sky Toy Story colour is how I would describe it. This is your banana sunshine colour, and black is, well, dark skies, shall we say. This jacket comes in size small to extra large, so there's a nice variety of sizes as well as colours. For reference, this is a size small. Now I am 5'7", and I would say, you know, this is slightly on the larger side of what I would actually pick for a jacket, but it's also worth me mentioning this is not a slim or an athletic fitted jacket, which many pieces of clothing in the outdoor industry are these days. This is just more boxy, it's more loose fitted. So it's not designed to sort of hug against you, but in fact create space around you so that the air around your body is actually warmed by the technology. So we'll talk a little bit more, as I keep saying, about that technology very shortly. This is a down jacket. So down is obviously feathers, you've got duck and you've got goose down. Columbia don't actually specify what type of down this is, but it is RDS certified, which is something you really want to be looking out for if you're going to purchase any kind of down product. What that basically means is it's responsibly sourced and it is ethically sourced, so it's not detrimental to the animals' welfare, and quite often the down that comes from these animals is a side effect or a side product of the meat industry. So it's not just like, right, let's harvest these feathers, and don't need to go into it. It's animal butchery and that is not what this show is about. So anyway, RDS, keep an eye out for that, and 700 fill power is really quite reasonable actually. You know, jackets go up to sort of 900 fill power plus, and obviously the higher that number, quite naturally, the warmer the jacket is. Now down is a little bit tricky when it comes to use in wetter climates, because down can basically wet out is what we call it. So when it gets wet, it loses its insulation property, and that means we can obviously cool down very quickly because we have wet fabric against us. So that can be the reason why people choose synthetic over down. Now within this Omni-Heat range, Columbia have got synthetic jackets as well, and in fact I've reviewed one sort of for a side-by-side comparison with this one. That's a nice blue colour, so you can see the blues that they use as well. But anyway, I'm a fan of both, particularly on a day like today. Down's a lovely thing to wear, and it can really make you feel quite connected to the earth. As a vegan and plant-based person, it can be a little bit debatable, but as I say, it's quite nice that it's come from as a byproduct of the meat industry, and in a way it's a nice way that they're using more of the animal. This is all a side discussion. I'm clearly getting into one of my passions here. Let's get back to the facts of the jacket. So the down contained within this jacket is sealed within these baffles. So where you've got these sort of bubbles, these are called baffles, and they're not actually visibly stitched together. They're more sort of glued together, the fabric, which is a little bit different. Quite often in clothing it's stitched together, but anyway, that just means basically the down is going to stay in its baffles and not just end up in random places, and you just sort of have one massive clump of down on your hip, which looks very strange. And obviously that means your heat retentions is going to be consistent across your body. If we look at the other features then, so we start with the cuffs. The cuffs are just elastic, which is nice and simple. That sort of helps to reduce the weight, keep the weight of the jacket down. They're not, you know, tiny cuffs. They don't super grip against your wrist, and that's quite nice because if you do get a bit warm you can just shift it up your forearm a little bit. And then you've got glove loops on the side, which you can cheekily use for your thumbs, but it's kind of a bit weird, and then your thumb gets stuck. Don't do that. But basically you can tie your gloves to that. You know, generally if you're in a cold climate you've got gloves on, and obviously that's replicated on the other side. Sort of coming up, everything is very, very simple. It's a jacket, it's fabric, it's got feathers in it. We have a number of pockets on this jacket actually. So we have sort of your standard hand pockets on the side. I have to say the fabric within these on sort of the outer side of the pocket is really quite nice. It's very soft to touch, and I like that. It's surprising because it almost feels like your hands go into a glove when you go into the pocket, which is why I started this video with my hands in my pocket, because it's nice and warm in there. But for size reference, they're about the size of an OS map, sort of come up to about the middle of the jacket and drop right down to the bottom. It's a very nice size, and the toggles on the jacket are reasonably okay. Personally, I might swap these out or make them a little bit bigger. It's funny actually because I never understand how companies have some products which have really nice toggles and then other products where they've just gone nah. So this is almost like a piece of guy line, and then some of their other jackets is this really nice piece of like fake leather. So anyway, it's okay, and you can just about feel them with gloves. I have quite numb hands right now, so I'm struggling a little bit, but they don't snag. They, you know, slide up and down the sort of zip settings very nicely, and that's replicated here on the main zip. Just do that. There we go. I always try to minimize the rustling on the microphone, but essentially it's a zip. It goes one way up and down, and then behind it we've got a storm baffle. So this is an additional piece of fabric that sits behind the main zip, so that when you have got the wind coming against you, the wind, yes, might get through the zip, but it's not actually going to get to your body. So that's just going to help again contain that heat and keep you nice and warm when you're out and about on your adventures. Do that up. The other zip we've got here as well is a chest pocket zip. So this one is external, it's on the outside. And what we can see in here is I have a telephone. So this is my Samsung S10 for size reference. Basically, fits nice and easy, jobs are good. And so that's the size of that chest pocket there for you. The only other feature really for me to show you externally, I mean there's only so many things I can talk about when it comes to a jacket, because basically it's clothes and you wear it, is right down at the bottom here you have got a nice adjustable cuff. So you've got two sides that you can adjust, and what that means is you can pull that nice and tight and lock it in against your body, again, so that the heat stays in. Additionally, if you're wearing a rucksack with this jacket, because it is designed for hiking, then it's not going to ride up so much, because, you know, quite often that can happen with the friction of the rucksack on your back. Your clothing just rises up, and then you have, like, why is my back cold? Oh, because my bum is half exposed. Been there? Thumbs up if you have. Anyway, let's get to the exciting stuff about this jacket. So if I unzip it, it's disco time. Ta-da! So this is the Omni-Heat technology, the Infinity technology. So basically it's a type of foil. It's super shiny, it's gold, and it feels reasonably nice. It's obviously entirely synthetic. But basically what it's designed to do is to reflect the heat that your body is producing back against your heat and into the air around your body. And this is what I mean by wearing too many layers underneath this is actually going to prevent this technology from working really effectively. It can be a bit of a shock when you put it on against your skin if you're wearing just a t-shirt, but very, very quickly you warm up, and it's nothing like sort of a 3-layer laminated waterproof. It doesn't feel like that. It feels quite nice, to be fair, and I quite like it, because if you're really feeling it, you could reverse your jacket and have a bit of a party because it's super shiny. But But anyway, that's the Omni-Heat technology, and I think it's cool. I've been experimenting with it. I suppose the only thing I would say is it's not the most breathable technology out there. Columbia don't really talk about the breathability. They've really just focused on locking in that heat. So within this sort of series that they've created, you know, I would focus on using these as your more stationary jackets, so your B-day jackets, you know, when you're just stood still and not exercising too excessively. You know, absolutely use them mountaineering, use them hiking, use them biking, but I would say if you're going to sweat excessively in these, they're not going to breathe super well, so you're just going to end up a bit damp. The other thing as well inside here is we have a nice pocket, just a massive drop pocket. You could fit anything in that. I mean, it's a good place to hide some secret sandwiches if you ask me. So that's that. We'll zip this up and I'll have a look at the hood. Hands go back in the pockets. This is the hood. So the hood is a really very simple affair. There's not a lot to talk about. Essentially, it's you know, the down continues right over it, so you've got that maximum insulation property all the way around the hood. But it is just elastic around the whole opening. There are no toggles to pull down, there's nothing on the top, so you can't lock it in. And as with a couple of other jackets I've looked at within this range, I do find it a bit of a shame. I just think those additional options to pull a jacket right around your head and lock in that heat is really quite important, because our head is where we lose a lot of our heat, as with our extremities. So yeah, and then the other thing as well, when I've worn this out sort of on dog walks and stuff, and it's been a bit windy, the wind has sort of caught and it's pulled against the hood. So it's not been my favourite experience hood-wise. But the nice thing is, I've always got a hat to hand, so it's not a problem. No, honestly, like, I find the hood very well made. It's all just really constructed very nicely. It's just sort of that final piece of attention to detail. You know, if you are a hood user, I know a lot of people have hooded jackets and they never bother with a hood. So, you know, if you're one of those people, then it really doesn't matter. And then additionally, if you're planning on using this as sort of a middle layer and you're almost always going to have something over it, then again, really doesn't matter. I just wouldn't let that be a deal breaker. Because as I say, I've really enjoyed using this jacket. It's been reliable, it's been warm, it's reasonably light, it packs down very nicely into its own pocket if you want to. The only thing I could say is that just be prepared if you get the yellow to blind everybody around you. They will have to wear sunglasses. And if you get anything on it, it shows up very, very quickly. So it feels a little bit impractical for the outdoor scene sometimes. I actually, in hindsight, think I would have gone for the blue, because it's still a nice colour, but a bit of dirt doesn't really matter too much. But as I say, I've loved this jacket, and I hope this has been helpful for you, sort of just modelling this, seeing some of the features. I know with stores shutting down left, right and centre, it can actually be really hard to try on clothing and equipment for size, so don't be afraid to get in touch with Columbia if you feel I've missed something and you want to find out more. But otherwise, I would love to hear from you. Please let me know in the comments below what insulating jacket you love to use. I'm a big fan of them. I have so many. I love winter, I love autumn. I think they're a great opportunity to explore new things, new places and new clothing as well. So as I say, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your adventures wherever they may be, and until next time, stay wild. I'll see you soon.